right, church, you've made it to the middle of the week. That means it's time for this week's edition of Wednesday Wi-Fi. How is your divine connection? And I pray that as you're enjoying this unseasonably warm weather, the trees are in full foliage, it's so beautiful out, but even more than that you are finding yourself in full bars of connectivity to the Lord. And I want to continue on this theme that we've been in, what it means to live a blessed life. Now, we began with the Gospel of John, where Jesus encounters Thomas, and Thomas was sort of doubting, the legitimacy of everything, and finally he has this aha moment, where Jesus is who he says he was, and he did what he said he would do, and Jesus says, you know what, you're blessed, but guess what, even more than you who believe because you've seen, blessed are the ones who have never seen and yet believe. And that was our starting point. Then we jumped over to the Beatitudes, Jesus' Sermon on the Mount there by the Sea of Galilee, and he begins to preach, talking about the layers of what a blessed life looks like. And so this week we land on, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Now, this to me is so applicable in the climate in which we're in now. And it's such a representation of God that we absolutely need to emulate. Think about it. The ultimate act of peacemaking was done by God. You and I were at enmity with God. We were alienated. We were strangers. We were outside of covenant. We were enemies of God. And yet what did God do? He did the ultimate sacrifice so that he could make peace with all of humanity. And as that sacrificial laying down of his life, so should we strive to make peace in the world around us. This is what Jesus is saying here when he says blessed are the peacemakers, is do not fuel conflict. You and I both know the climate we're in, right? It's an election year. There's a lot of conflict. There's conflict in general, but much more given the election year. And the goal is not to stir the pot, be a gaslighter, create conflict, or fuel conflict. The goal as children of God, because he brings definition to what a peacemaker is, children of God. The goal is to bring peace and diffuse situations. That doesn't mean we make peace with sin and sinful behavior. It means that we are the peacemakers. We are the resolvers. We bring a godly resolution in times of trouble and conflict. And then the step further beyond that, to be a peacemaker, is not just to bring a diffusing element where there's conflict, but it's also to try to share our faith with people so that they too can experience the ultimate peace, which is peace with God. That is the ultimate goal of being a peacemaker, of sharing your faith. I think it's in the prophet Joel, who said, we stand between the altar and the door. And that's really what the life of a Christian is. We stand between the presence of God that we love so much and the world outside, and we try to have a hand on each, and we pull as many people out of the grips of the kingdom of hell and into the kingdom of God as we can. That is the goal of being an ultimate peacemaker. And the end result, he says, the reward is that you will be seen as a true child of God. Here's your sermon in 60 seconds. Edgar did a phenomenal job. He broke down Acts chapter 17. He gave us the 5 characteristics of knowing God more, of knowing God deeper, so that we wouldn't live in ignorance, worshiping, as he put it, the unknown God, that you can know God. How beautiful is that? And this Sunday, we're going to dive into Acts chapter 18. We will have communion. It's going to be a blessed Sunday. It's going to be an action-packed Sunday. I look forward to seeing you there. Have a great rest of your week, church. God bless you.